Eels have fascinated scientists and explorers for generations. From contributing to the invention of electric batteries, to their breeding habits being an enigma for marine enthusiasts until 2022, here is the morbid truth about eels. Eels are fascinating creatures that belong to the order Anguilliformes, which includes a whopping 8 suborders, 20 families, 164 genera, and around 1,000 species. They go through some pretty dramatic changes as they grow from larvae to adults, and are typically predators. Eels have a unique way of swimming by creating waves that ripple along their bodies, and they can even swim backwards by reversing the wave direction. Most eels prefer to hang out in shallow ocean waters, where they burrow into the sand, mud, or hide among rocks. They're mostly nocturnal, so they're rarely seen out and about on family beach days. Sometimes you'll find them living together in a cozy little hole, called an eel pit. Sometimes some courageous eels venture into deeper waters, living on continental shelves and slopes as deep as 4,000 meters, or 13,000 feet. The true freshwater fans among eels are the Anguilla species, but even they head back to the sea to breed. As for the extremes, the European conger eel holds the title for the heaviest true eel, reaching up to 3 meters or 10 feet long and weighing in at 110 kilos. Some eels can even get longer, like the giant slender moray, which can grow up to 4 meters or 13 feet, but they don't pack on the pounds as much as their conger compatriots. And now for the question you've all been waiting for. Can you eat them? Yeah, you can. Eels are quite the delicacy in various countries around the world. In Japanese cuisine, freshwater eels, or unagi, and marine eels, or anago, are a big deal, especially in dishes like unadon and unaju. They're delicious but can be pretty pricey. Over in China, eels are also very popular and prepared in countless ways. In Hong Kong, eel prices can skyrocket, sometimes reaching as high as 1,000 Hong Kong dollars, or around 129 US dollars per kilogram, and some have even hit as high as 5,000 Hong Kong dollars per kilo in the past. In India, eels are a favorite in the northeast, known as kusia in Assamese, often cooked in curry with herbs. Meanwhile, in Europe and the US, freshwater eels are kind of enjoyed sometimes, but are sadly considered critically endangered. A traditional dish from East London is jellied eels, though it's not as popular as it used to be. Can anyone figure out why jelly and eels are losing popularity? In the greater UK region, alvers, or young eels, used to be a cheap dish, but became quite pricey after their numbers declined in the 1990s. Nowadays, they're one of the UK's most expensive species. Spain has a unique way of cooking young eels, called angullas, sautéed in olive oil with garlic, and these can fetch up to €1,000 per kilo. Italians prize eels from the Valle di Comacchio along the Adriatic coast, as well as eels from Bolsena Lake and Sardinia. In northern Germany, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic, Poland, Denmark, and Sweden, smoked eel is considered a special treat. And finally, New Zealand also has its own tradition with the longfin eel, which is a staple in Maori cuisine. Interestingly, eel blood is toxic to humans and other mammals. But don't worry, cooking and digestion destroy the toxic protein.
Absolutely delicious.
On a quirky note, eel skin leather, which is incredibly smooth and strong, actually comes from the Pacific hagfish, not true eels. This jawless fish is known as the slime eel, but more on fake eels later. With all this love for eels in different cuisines, it's no wonder that some eel species are considered endangered due to high consumption in European countries. I'd probably never have the guts to try one of these slimy guys, just because I would be too scared that it might make me feel eel. Anyways, all American and European eels have a unique birthplace, the mysterious Sargasso Sea, located within the infamous Bermuda Triangle. The secret of how eels reproduce has puzzled minds from Aristotle to Sigmund Freud. Finally, tracking data has provided strong evidence linking eels to this spawning site. It only took them until 2022 to make this discovery. Adult European eels undertake an epic journey across the Atlantic Ocean, traveling a staggering 3,100 to 6,250 miles, or 5,000 to 10,000 kilometers, to reach the Sargasso Sea near Bermuda. There, they spawn, lay eggs, and die, completing their incredible life cycle. The Asian swamp eel, also known as the rice eel, is another interesting character. It's a commercially important air-breathing fish found in East and Southeast Asia, where it's commonly sold and eaten. This eel has even made its way to the United States, specifically near the Everglades in Florida and Atlanta in Georgia. Then there's the African longfin eel, which spends most of its life in fresh water in places like southern Kenya, Cape Agulhas, Madagascar, and New Caledonia. When it's time to breed, these eels migrate to the western Indian Ocean. And if you think we've forgotten about South America, stay tuned, there's more eel-illuminating info to come. These creatures can live in both fresh and salt water. Out of the 800 known species of eels, most of them prefer the salty ocean. Freshwater eels, however, are the adventurous types. They spend most of their lives in rivers and streams, but head to the ocean to breed and die. Freshwater eels belong to the Anguillidae family, which include less than 20 species. Their larvae float around on the ocean surface, munching on tiny particles until they're ready to head back to fresh water. Eels typically hang out in rocky areas or near the ocean floor, and are usually nocturnal, coming out at night to find food. Some eels are social and live together, while others prefer a more solitary lifestyle. And we get that. Some of us just want to be left alone sometimes. Okay, I'm done. Now let's clear up a common mix-up that is probably gonna blow your mind. Electric eels are not true eels. They're actually knife fish, more closely related to carp and catfish. While true eels belong to the Anguilliformes order as already mentioned, electric eels are part of the Gymnotiformes order and lay their eggs in fresh water. Electric eels are not just fascinating creatures, but have also played a crucial role in scientific history. It was by studying these exact fish that Italian scientist Alessandro Volta was inspired to invent the first battery in 1800. The word voltage comes from Volta's name. The volt, a unit of measurement regarding the strength of an electric current, was named in his honor in 1881. Electric eels belong to the genus Electrophorus and are native to the freshwater habitats of South America. Told you we wouldn't forget about you, South America. They're famous for their shocking ability to generate electricity, delivering jolts of up to 860 volts to stun their prey. Despite their name, electric eels are more closely related to catfish than to true eels. For a long time, it was thought that there was only one species of electric eel. But in 2019, scientists identified 3 separate species: Electrophorus electricus, Electrophorus voltae, and Electrophorus varii. These nocturnal creatures have poor vision and rely on echolocation to navigate and hunt. They are obligate air breathers, which means that they need to come to the surface regularly to breathe. Electric eels can grow as long as they live, and some in captivity have reached over 20 years of age. In terms of their distribution, E. electricus is found in the northern parts of South America, particularly in the Guiana Shield. E. voltae is located more to the south, from the Brazilian Shield northwards, while E. varii lives in the central lowlands. These environments range from streams and grasslands to ponds and ravines, with significant changes in water levels between wet and dry seasons. They all favor deep, shaded areas with muddy river bottoms and can tolerate low oxygen waters by breathing air. These eels have 3 pairs of electric organs: the main organ, hunter's organ, and Sachs organ. These organs, made up of specialized cells called electrolytes, enable the eels to produce both low and high voltage electric discharges. Now we move on to actual eels, moving away from the counterfeit imposters from Temu. Freshwater moray eels, sometimes called tiger moray eels, are among the few true freshwater eels. They sport stunning black and yellow spots and can grow up to 5 feet long. These eels are native to the Indo-Pacific, especially around Indonesia and Australia. The peacock eel, also known as the zebra spiny eel, is native to Southeast Asia's river systems, like the Mekong and Chao Phraya. These eels love slow-moving waters where they can bury themselves and come out at night to forage. Tire track eels, also known as zigzag eels, are found across Asia from Pakistan to Indonesia. These migratory fish prefer freshwater rivers, streams, and wetlands, often hiding near the bottom or buried in the sand. The snowflake eel, also known as the clouded or starry moray eel, is a common sight in saltwater aquariums. These eels have a marbled back, yellow and cream patterns, and are found throughout the Indo-Pacific. They typically grow to about 2 to 3 feet long and inhabit shallow lagoons and coral reefs. Zebra moray eels are named for their black and white stripes. These eels come from the Indo-Pacific coral reefs and can reach up to 5 feet in the wild, but usually stay around 2 feet in captivity. The Tessellata moray eel, also called the laced, leopard or honeycomb moray eel, has a striking black and yellow spotted pattern. Found mainly along the eastern coast of Africa and the Great Barrier Reef, they can grow up to 6 feet long. They love eating smaller fish and cephalopods like squid and octopus. The fimbriated moray eel, or yellowhead moray eel, is more aggressive and has an off-white body with brown patterns and a yellow-green head. This Indo-Pacific species lives in coastal reefs and brackish environments and can grow up to 3 feet long. True to its name, the giant moray eel can reach up to 10 feet long, making it the largest eel species from the Indo-Pacific. As apex predators, they feed on fish and large invertebrates, and are usually found near tropical reef drop-offs and slopes. Eels might look fascinating, but they can be quite dangerous. True eels in the Anguilliformes order, especially the larger moray eels like the giant moray, have powerful bites that could easily take off a finger if provoked. When it comes to false eels, the electric eel is probably the most infamous, with the ability to incapacitate a full-grown adult. These slippery creatures are incredibly diverse, varying in habitat, size, and color. For instance, there's the tiny bobtail eel, which only grows up to 4 inches and lives in the deep sea, and the striking honeycomb moray eel, with its vibrant yellow and black spots, reaching lengths of up to 6 feet. Moray eels have a strong sense of hygiene. To keep themselves parasite-free, they have a mutualistic relationship with cleaner shrimps. These shrimps clean the moray eel's eyes, teeth, and gills, and in return, the eels pay their rent for them. In return, they get a meal of parasites and dead skin. In the Red Sea, researchers observed an unusual hunting partnership between giant moray eels and groupers. Groupers would signal the eels by shaking their heads, prompting the eel to join them on a hunt. The groupers, which hunt during the day, would lead the eels to prey hiding in the reef. The eels would then flush out the prey from their hiding spots, making it easier for both to catch their meals. This teamwork proved to be very successful, combining their different hunting styles for a greater catch. Records from ancient Rome show that the Roman aristocracy loved their eels, keeping well-stocked fish ponds filled with them. These ponds ensured a fresh supply of fish and eels. However, the Romans were aware of the moray eel's predatory nature. One author, Columella, even advised keeping the eels in separate ponds to avoid any casualties. So there you have it, the morbid truth about eels. We hope you learned something and enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, it helps the algorithm. And remember, the Earth is truly supernatural.